Hello everyone, Grandpa Nerd here. Welcome back to a new video here on my channel. Now, hopefully, I won't bore you too much because it might be a little long one. I got a pretty big stack here. I'm a huge wrestling fan. Now, I don't keep up with the product as much as I used to, but doesn't mean I'm not still a fan. And by having all this in my collection shows you that, yes, this guy is a pretty big fan. Now, there's a lot of us out there. I'm not trying to stand out above anybody else. I just wanted to show off my collection. And in a day where some of this stuff is hard to find, because it used to be all be on the WWE Network, and then they went and got rid of it and moved it all to Peacock. And now Peacock don't have it, and now some of it's on the vault on WWE, but it's like, I don't know if you can find all of this. I mean, I'm sure you can find all this on the internet. I mean, we all know how the 7C, sailing the 7 Seas are, but I don't know how many of these are available on YouTube in legitimate ways. I don't know how many of these are available legitimately, but these are the ones that I bought throughout my life on DVD. Now, obviously, I had a lot of VHSs back in the day, but all my VHS tapes, poof, disappeared over the years. I don't have them anymore. But I didn't have that big of a collection. I don't want to make you all think I had walls and walls of, Titan videos. No, I didn't. I had a handful. I wish I had more than what I have. And anytime I go to a secondhand shop and I see WWE DVDs, I usually try to, if I don't have it, I try to grab it. That's where this first set I'm going to show you is from. Now, this is my hobbled together collection of WrestleMania stuff, which is pathetic, but it's what I got. I got this one here, History of WrestleMania 1 through 9, 85 through 93. This one is in pretty good shape, but it's weird. It's very short. It's only one disc. But it's just, it says, look at that, PlayStation 2 compatible. That's how long ago this one was made. That's only 2 hours, but it gives you a quick rundown of WrestleMania. I wish I had more. I do have the first 19 WrestleManias on DVD, but we won't explain how I got those, but they're not official, so we aren't showing those off. So I've got this one, the history. And then I have this one I got picked up in a secondhand shop because it's volume 3, and I don't have the other ones, which is sad. But this is WrestleMania, the complete anthology, 95 through 99. So it's WrestleMania 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Now, I wish I had the entire set, but I don't. But you can see here. Woo! But I do wish I had the whole set. But unfortunately, I do not. And it makes me sad. Sometimes I go to sleep and cry that I don't have it. But life's cruel, and we can't always get what we want. And then here is my official release of WrestleMania 20. Now, this is the WrestleMania that a lot of people, you can see it now. I don't think it was ever pulled, but it's the one that had Chris Benoit, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. This was the year that Eddie Guerrero won and Chris Benoit. Anyway, I don't know, during the whole fiasco with Benoit, I don't know if it was ever pulled, but I don't think they don't show Benoit in forefront, but I think this was always, I think this might be on Netflix, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me. But this is WrestleMania 20, so I have the WrestleMania 20 DVD. And then I have the WrestleMania 21 DVD, and this is when they started putting the Hall of Fame. So this has the Hogan, Roddy Piper, Iron Sheik. I can't remember. It's been such a long time. Still got the book. I take care of my stuff. Yeah, it's Cowboy Bob Orton, Nikolai Volkov, Iron Sheik, Paul Orndorff, Jimmy Hart, Roddy Piper, and Hulk Hogan. It was their Hall of Fame induction. I do believe this was the first DVD. This was the first time they put it. I don't think it was in 20. So 21 has the Hall of Fame. And then I've got 22, WrestleMania 22. And it, once again, it also, I do believe, has the Hall of Fame. Like I said, it's been a long time. Yep. The Blackjacks, Vern Gagne, William Refrigerator Perry, Sensational Sherry, Tony Atlas, Gene Okerlund, Eddie Guerrero, and Bret the Hitman Hart. So yes, it does have WrestleMania 22. Does have, hard to believe, no Eddie Guerrero. But yeah, so here's WrestleMania 22. And then they still cased it this year. This is WrestleMania. It says the Ultimate Edition. This is WrestleMania 23. This was the year we got the, still got the cards. Still got the cards sealed up. And I can't, it's got here, this one's The Rock. Talking about his Stone Cold WrestleMania 15 from 99. But it says collect all 16. Cards D1 through D4. I have D1 through D4, WrestleMania 23. Available now. And then it shows the rest of them are coming. I obviously never got the rest of them, but I still have the cards. Still have the cards. But this one has 5 hours of bonus content. I don't know if this one has... Oops, I hit a key on my keyboard. Hope I didn't lose you guys. This one is the one where we had the hair versus hair match. The president versus... Well, he wasn't the president then, but... Trump, that was... I like the match. I'm not going to lie. I like the match. You know, we're not going to discuss anything political here, but I like the match. But I don't think... Yep, this one has the Hall of Fame too. And this was the last WrestleMania DVD that I purchased, because I do believe shortly after it was the network, and I was like, well, you know, dumb me thought for sure the network would stick around forever, and I didn't think I needed to buy them. But I should have bought them anyway, but now you can't even buy them. But this has the Hall of Fame, Nick Bockwinkel, the Wild Samoans, the original Sheik, Mr. Fuji, Jim Ross, Jerry the King Lawler, Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig, and Dusty Rhodes. So this is a good one, because this is the one where Sabu and RVD inducted his uncle. Let me mute my phone here so I'm not being rude. All right. Usually I mute it, but yeah. So this is the 3-disc Ultimate, and this was my last WrestleMania DVD. And it brings back memories, you know, Raw, SmackDown, ECW, which, was it really ECW? I mean, it was, but come on now. So that's my WrestleMania set. Now, here's the rest of my stuff. Now I'm going to start with the modern ones. I have the Owen Hart, Heart of Gold. I love this DVD. Most of these I watch at least once a year. At least once a year. But this has some stuff on it. It's got of course, it's got some stuff on it. It's got some good stuff on it. There's some great matches. Owen versus Bret. Owen versus Razor Ramon. Hart Foundation versus Stone Cold. Ken Shamrock. Goldust. Legion of Doom. And many, many more. But I love this DVD. Now, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the DVDs from WWE. But on a 5-point... I know they have a problem, some of them, where the audio sounds really bad. Like, the music is loud and the voice is very low. I don't know if anybody has that issue. I do. I don't know why. I'm not an expert on DVD manufacturing, so I don't know. But yeah, Owen Hart, Heart of Gold. This is one of my pride and joys. And then I have, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. Another great DVD. Obviously one-sided. It's obviously one-sided. There's not a lot of bad talk about Paul Heyman in here. Sometimes I like to get the shoot, but for the most part, it's a great DVD. I don't want to pull the sleeve out or take the discs out to show you what's included, but that would make this video way too long. But yeah, my name is Paul Heyman. This is another one of mine that I love. And then here's another one of my pride and joys. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, ugh, but I am a huge fan of CM Punk, the Worker. I don't know the man. I don't get involved in all that, you know, oh, he's a big baby, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. If you're a wrestler, I care about your in-ring work, and I care about your skills on the mic and anything wrestling related. I don't care about the backstage politics. I don't care about that. So I'm a huge fan of CM Punk. And this is one of mine, CM Punk, Best in the World. This one came out shortly before he split. But this is another favorite DVD of mine. So there's that. And then I have this one. This one is really good too. Sometimes they feel a little lackluster. Like, I want more. I wish there was more. This is one of those that I wish had more. But this is my It's Good to Be the King. The Jerry Lawler story. And like I said, I wish it had more, but it's good. Okay, now I have both of these in here, but we'll start with this one first, and I'll show you the other one later. But this is, after he died, this was Ultimate Warrior Always Believe. This is the one they put together after he passed away. So it's got, lots of bonus features in it, and it actually came with a poster, which I still have, which is just a poster of the 1959, 2014, and just a poster of the cover of the DVD, except it has his dates on there. So that's still in here. And then it's 2-disc set. Now this is it's a nice set, but they spend their whole time praising Ultimate Warrior. Bring a tear to your eye if you let it. A lot of his old matches, a lot of I like it. I like it. I wish there was more. I wish it had more matches, but they're Warrior matches. They didn't last long. They could have probably put every single one on here, but I love this DVD. So there's that one. Then, of course, another all-time favorite of mine, still got the slipcover. Straight out of Dudleyville, The Legacy of the Dudley Boys. I love this one. You see, that's that cover, and then this is the cover on the inside. And, 2 blues. But this is another one that I wish had more matches, that is. The story, the documentary part is fine. I just wish there was a lot more matches. But it is what it is. With licensing rights and stuff like that, you can't get Japanese matches and whatnot. So I get it. Sometimes it happens. Or that's the way it goes. But this is another one that I really enjoy. And then the last of the modern ones, the Blu-rays, is I have the history of the WWE. It's when they turn 50 years old. It's got it's 2-disc. It's got a documentary talking about the beginnings of the WWE and everything, and it's got great matches on here. Stuff like, it's got Bruno's epic championship reign came to an end in Baltimore, Maryland. Hogan slams Andre 316. It's got a lot of stuff on here. I'll pull this one out. It's got Blu-ray exclusives. Some stories from Reporting the News, Jimmy Valiant, Bankruptcy, Titan Sports. And then 2 bonus matches, Floyd Money Mayweather and The Big Show. Don't know why they put the modern matches as a bonus. And then Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. But it's got Bruno Sammartino versus Superstar Billy Graham. It's got Royal Rumble from '88. It's got some great matches. An arena camera, no commentary of Hulk Hogan and Andre, WrestleMania 3. Like that. The Ultimate Warrior one has some good no commentary, hard cam, stuff like that. It's got some pretty interesting stuff. But like I said, here's another one that I enjoy. I love the documentary aspect of it. Obviously, I love having the classic matches, but I love documentaries. I'm a huge documentary person. That's why I have so many. So there's the 50. And then now we're going back to DVD. Here's another favorite of mine. Little one-sided. Wish it could have had more interviews than it did, but it's still a good DVD. The Rise and Fall of WCW. This is another one that, like I said, it's 3 discs. Still got my book. I take care of my DVDs. I've always taken care of my DVDs. Always will. Even though I don't buy them like I used to. But yeah, this is The Rise and Fall of WCW. Like I said, it's one-sided. It's mainly told from the side of WWE. I'm a huge WCW fan. Now, before I continue, let me lay that out. I grew up in Georgia. So I remember a time before WCW when it was just, Georgia South wrestling. You could go into the Carolinas and see and see Mid-South, but growing up in Georgia. And then I remember, the NWA being in the territory, Georgia South. And then I remember the birth of WCW and all the Ted Turner and all that stuff. I was there for that. I was there, I was there when WWE showed up on TBS. So, but I'm a huge WCW fan. Now, you got to remember territories. I didn't really have a lot of access to WWE as a kid in the 70s. It wasn't until the USA Network where I really, when they started, that's when I fell in love with WWE. I'd watch Cartoon Express, and then I would watch Superstars, usually aired after on Saturday, Superstars. This is the days before Raw and all that stuff. And, USA Network introduced me to WWE, but I had been watching WCW before. 6:05 on Saturday, we had Wrestling Man. So WCW is my all-time favorite because that's what I grew up on. I'm not disrespecting anybody, and I'm not going to sit here and say WCW was better than WWE. I'm not that kind of an expert. And is there really an expert that can prove which one was better? I just grew up in the South, so I grew up on Southern wrestling. I grew up with WCW, but I still loved WWE. But WCW is where my loyalty lied with. I would record Raw and watch WCW. And even when I was married, the wife and I would watch WCW, record on VHS Raw, and then when Nitro was over, we'd watch Raw. So I was still watching both, but I watched this live. I didn't get WWE pay-per-views because the only thing I could afford at the time, because we had 2 new children and this, that, and the other. So we bought the WCW pay-per-views, and we would just have to look at rumors and results on the internet for WWE pay-per-views. And then we would get WrestleMania. But we were WCW people. So, it's not inaccurate, but a lot of the opinions are told from one side. Still a good DVD. So there's that one. Let me set them on the... And then this one, this one is McMahon. Now, a lot of people probably will scoff at it these days because Vince is not everybody's favorite person. But, it's 2-disc set. Another one told from the side of everybody, the family and whatnot. But it's a good documentary nonetheless. It's still a true story. But most of the matches on here is weird. It's got 9 matches. 3 of his against Stone Cold, 1 against Triple H, 1 against Shane, 1 against Flair, 1 against Hogan, 1 against Stephanie, and then 1 against Undertaker. So, it's got some decent, it's got some matches, but I mainly got this for the story and the documentary. I'm not going to get into Vince McMahon's problems that he's had. I will say that I am upset that he sold WWE to TKO. I think his story there towards the end, before he got rid of it, the stories were still weak. I feel like Vince was out of touch with the fan base, but it was still better than what I'm seeing now. That's just one guy's opinion. Everybody's different. I know some of you are going to be like, well, I like what's going on, and that's cool. But for me, I'm not a big fan of what's going on with WWE right now. Some of the storylines I like. Some of them I don't. There's more. There's only a few that I like, so that's why I've not been following it. But I don't know. I put things aside, and as far as I'm concerned, Vince McMahon was a genius when it came to wrestling and doing business. Outside of that, it's none of my business. So there's that one. Then I got this bad boy. Jake the Snake Roberts, Pick Your Poison. I don't remember when this one came out, but I still got the book. Came with a book called "It's Good to Be." It says Superstar Billy Graham, Tangled Ropes. It's good to be king sometimes, and listen, you pencil neck geeks. And it's the best of WWE legends, and it's just got little stories. Freddie Blassie, Jerry the King Lawler. Pretty interesting. Don't know why they packaged it with it, but they did. And then, of course, here's the 2 DVDs. And it's got some great matches on it. Ricky Steamboat, Snake Pit match. Honky Tonk Man, WrestleMania 3. Rick Rude, The Rude Awakening versus DDT in Madison Square Garden. Versus Sting. The Coal Miner's Glove match from Halloween Havoc. So, it's a great DVD. And Jake's been honest about a lot of things. There are still some discrepancies in it, but for the most part, it's a good DVD, good documentary, good storytelling, and I love it. probably like, you love them all. Not all of them. Well, maybe all of them. I don't know. Here is Rise and Fall of ECW. Here is another one. 2 discs. Here's another one from my collection that I think is a little bit one-sided. Didn't have Shane Douglas. Some of the, it was missing some of the roster's not on here. And I think that was because they wanted it from a certain point of view. WWE's. Now, I still don't hate it, but I wish it had been more. I do have the hardcore DVD documentary in the next room, but I didn't want to show it off because it's not part of WWE Collection. But I do have the hardcore, I forgot what it's called, but where it talks about hardcore wrestling in general. But this is 6-hour set. It's got some great matches on it. Another one that's old. This is PlayStation 2 compatible. But I think it's a great DVD, a great story. I just, like I said, wish it had more negativity towards WWE in it, but it is what it is. Good DVD nonetheless. The Heart and Soul, the Hart Family Anthology. Now, this one, if I do recall, I could be wrong, but this one was released because they wanted to do one on Owen, but they didn't want to get sued. Obviously, they did eventually do an Owen one because I got the Blu-ray. And I don't know the history on that and how they were able to do it. I don't know if they did a temporary deal with Martha. I don't know the deal, but I know they didn't. She wasn't talking to him at all. So this one was done as a way to talk about Owen without talking about Owen. Because if you notice, I mean, he is on the cover, but it's basically about the Harts. And it's about the Hart family. Got some great matches in here. It's got a Stampede match. It's a good documentary. I like it. I still got the book. It's got the 3 DVDs. Starts off with Stu Hart, falling in love, the promoter, the Hart House. It's all about the Harts. So that was WWE's way of being able to talk about Owen without, ruffling feathers, even though I think it's still ruffled feathers. But pretty good documentary. Pretty good. Here's another one of my pride and joys. Road Warriors. Now, I'm a huge fan of the Road Warriors. Been since I was a kid. You got to imagine growing up, in Georgia and seeing these boys show up and the shoulder pad. It was just the coolest thing, man. It was the coolest thing. And I loved watching them on NWA. It was great. And this is another one I got the card and got, growing up, the gym when they were bouncing and then training, and AWA, Paul Ellering is a really good documentary. This is another one that I watch. Sometimes I watch this at least twice a year, but it's the Road Warriors. And another one, PlayStation 2 compatible. You got to get the word out. You can watch these on your PlayStation 2, kids. Great DVD. Love this one. Now, this one is another one that's my pride and joy. Now, I was a huge fan of the Warrior. Now, I know people get into his work ethic and this, that, and the other, and he's hard to work with, and he's stiff, and I don't care about all that. I'm not a wrestler. Now, to you guys out there who are wrestlers, obviously you would care about stuff like that, but I don't. I'm just a kid sitting in the living room watching on DVD. That's me. Just a kid on DVD, watching on television. I was a huge fan. My dad got the pay-per-view so I could watch Hogan versus Warrior. I love the Warrior. He brought a joy and a smile to my face. I loved it. Real life action heroes, action figures. I loved it. And then, of course, he disappeared. Well, I'm a huge fan of Ultimate Warrior. Always have been, always will be. And I remember when I got this DVD, the self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior. Now, there's some good matches in here. Him versus Terry Gibbs, his Intercontinental match, got Honky Tonk. But they don't have a lot of matches in here. This is basically an Ultimate Warrior bashing DVD. Now, I don't know if this is available. I don't know if they've ever re-put this. I don't even know if this was on the WWE Network. I have no idea. But it's got the birth of the Dingo Warrior, the birth of the Ultimate Warrior. But they spend their time, because there's only a few matches. That's why the Blu-ray that I showed you earlier about Ultimate Warrior, this one is done right. Lots of matches, them talking good about the guy. This is just bash, bash, bash. Now, I like a good shoot. I like watching people fight and argue. It's great. It broke my heart, a little bit about all the turmoil going on over him, the WWE. But at the same time, it was from their perspective. They had a falling out. They weren't talking to him. He sued them, this, that, and the other. So they spent he was upset about this DVD, and rightfully so. But I still have it. It's a piece of history. It's not the best DVD because, like I said, it's just them bashing them. And like I said, I love a good shoot video. So I enjoyed the documentary, but it was like, eh. But I have it for prosperity because, well, it's history. Then I have Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen. And this one has the War Games match from '88. Four Horsemen versus Dusty Rhodes, Dr. Death, Steve Williams, Lex Luger, Nikita Koloff, and Paul Ellering. Yeah. And then it's got the steel cage match for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, Ric Flair versus Ricky Morton, the Great American Bash in '86. So this is his 2-disc set. But this is a documentary about Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen and the rise of the Four Horsemen and all that. And I love this DVD. Like I said, grew up in Georgia, Four Horsemen guy. I was a Four Horsemen kid. I was always the guy. I love the heels. I like Dusty Rhodes, but like I wasn't a fan of Magnum TA. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a heel guy. I guess it's because I'm an asshole. I guess I don't know. I just love the heels. So Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen, good DVD. Wish it had been longer, more in depth, but they still a good DVD. I suggest everybody watch all these if you're a wrestling fan, but like I said, I don't know if they're available anywhere. And then this one is the world's greatest wrestling managers. This one covers Lou Albano, Paul Bearer, Classy Freddie Blassie, Jim Cornette, Miss Elizabeth, Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Paul Heyman, Sensational Sherry, Golden Boy Arnie Scotland, Sonny, the Grand Wizard, and many more. And it's got 80 minutes of footage like Captain Lou versus Arnie Scotland, Weasel Suit match, Bobby the Brain Heenan versus Greg Gagne from 1980. That previous one was from 77. The 1989 match was tuxedo match between Paulie Dangerously and Jim Cornette. Fuji Vice. Man, Fuji Vice was great. But yeah, this is another one that I implore people to see. If you're a wrestling fan, old school wrestling fan, maybe some of the younger generation won't care about this kind of stuff. And I got Born to Controversy, the Roddy Piper story. And still got all the discs. Great stuff. Another one, great documentary. Watch it once a year, at least. Now, all of these I bought firsthand. Only that one WrestleMania one that I'm missing the other two, that one is the only one I bought at a secondhand shop. The rest of these were all firsthand, but like I said, I do look for them. Now, I think there were a couple that I bought secondhand, but I don't remember which ones they were. Oh, okay. The Attitude Era one I'm about to show you, I do believe was a secondhand, and I do believe the Triple H and the Stone Cold ones were secondhand. Another one, good documentary, little one-sided like the ECW one and the fall of WCW. This one was the Monday Night War, which was the most amazing time to be alive and be a wrestling fan. It's only one disc. Not a lot of extras. Only like 80 minutes of extras. It's mainly documentary. Good documentary. Like I said, little one-sided, but good documentary nonetheless. This one I don't watch every year though. And then I've got Nature Boy Ric Flair, the Definitive Collection. Now this one is, I do believe, because I haven't watched it in a while, this one is all just matches. No story. Nope, this one is the story. It's the other one I had that's all matches. Beginnings, Plane Crash, The Nature Boy, Traveling, Slick Rick. So this one is his story, where he just got the documentary, Failware to Flair. Then there's some stories from other people, and then it's got some matches, from 82 Mid-Atlantic. So it's got some good matches on here, some special features. Modern matches, past matches. But this is his documentary. So Nature Boy Ric Flair, the Definitive Collection. Love it. Yeah, I know Ric Flair's fallen off from here recently, and it's got a problem, but it is what it is. This one, Bret Hart, Hitman. And this one, I do believe, before I open my mouth and look stupid, yes, this one's got early year stuff. This one's a doc. Some of these are just straight up matches. So I got to refresh the old noggin here. This one has a documentary, and then it's got tons of matches. It's actually got some matches, early matches too, from 85, 86. I thought it had some Stampede, but I guess it doesn't. But I could have swore it did. No. But it's got clips in there from Stampede. I do believe that Hart one did, though, because it was about the Hart family. So I got the Bret Hart one. You can see from my collection who some of my favorite wrestlers are. This one, Greatest Stars of the 90s, 3-disc set. This covers Shawn Michaels, Yokozuna, The Rock, Kevin Nash, Owen Hart, Ric Flair, Mick Foley, Hulk Hogan, Triple H, Bret the Hitman Hart, Mr. McMahon, Eric Bischoff, Paul Heyman, Lex Luger, Sting, Razor Ramon, Undertaker, and Stone Cold. And then it's got some matches, Sting versus Bret Hart, and many more. But it's a pretty good set. This one doesn't have the book anymore, so I do believe this one was also a secondhand store find. And I haven't watched this one in a long time, to be honest with you. Then this one was another one that was a secondhand find. This one is the Attitude Era. Now, this one, very lackluster. I wish there was a lot more to it, and there isn't. It's the birth of the documentary part, birth of the Attitude, entrance music, DX, Austin versus. It's very short documentary. It's mainly matches. Ross interviews Goldust. Stone Cold throws the Intercontinental Championship off the bridge. Lots of matches. Lots and lots of matches. But a very short documentary. I wish the matches are fine. The matches they picked are fine for what they've got. You know, Ken Shamrock versus Owen Hart, The Rock versus Mankind, Edge's Totally Awesome Birthday. You know, the matches are fine for me. The problem I have with it is the documentary is too short, way lackluster. So not one of my favorites. Not one of my favorites. Wish it had more. Matches are fine, though. Now, this one used to talk, but the battery's dead. It's a reverse thing. See, you might hear it. I don't know if you can hear it click. But this one is The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. This is his documentary. 2 discs. 3 discs. My bad. 3 discs. It's got his days. The first disc is his documentary. Good documentary, too. Then it's got a lot of stuff. It's got matches from AWA in 1973. Championship Wrestling from Florida in 74. Championship Wrestling from Florida. Dusty Rhodes versus Terry Funk. 1977 Madison Square Garden Worldwide Wrestling Federation Championship. Dusty Rhodes versus Billy Graham. Then a bunch of promos. And then disc 2. More Madison Square Garden. Dusty Rhodes versus Stan the Man Stasiak in 77. Promos, matches, Great American Bash in 86. Great American Bash in 85. This is a great collection of Dusty Rhodes stuff. Another one that is one of my favorite DVDs. Definitely not a secondhand. I bought this because I love Dusty Rhodes. Like I said, grew up in Georgia. I dare any Georgia-born wrestling fan to tell me they didn't like Dusty Rhodes. They did. If they tell you they didn't, they're lying. Love this DVD. Actually, at one time, I watched this 3 times in a year. I'm a huge Dusty Rhodes fan. Now, this one, Hulk Hogan, The Ultimate Anthology. Now, I do believe this one, yes, this one is just an anthology of his greatest matches. And then it's got a bonus disc of Hogan Knows Best. Season 1, WrestleMania. Season 2, Monkey Business. Season 3, Hogan's Knows Best Sneak Peek. So it's got 3 episodes of Hogan Knows Best. And then it's got matches. Andre and Hogan from 80 is the first match on disc 1. And then there's an AWA match between him and Nick Bockwinkel. His Iron Sheik match. Big John Studd, Roddy Piper. This has got all his greatest matches on it. King Kong Bundy, Paul Orndorff, Randy Savage, the Ultimate Warrior, title versus title. Goes all the way up to his last Legend versus Icon, Hulk Hogan versus Shawn Michaels, SummerSlam of 2005. I'm a huge Hulk Hogan fan. Yes, I know he had problems. I know he was a little bit of a stretching the truth. But great performer. Like I said, I don't care what these wrestlers do outside the ring. It's what you do in the ring. That's what impresses me. And he made my childhood fun. So I bought his DVD. Why? Because at the time there was no network and I wanted to see old matches. Now there's no network. This is the only way to see old matches, I guess. This one, another one that's a history of matches. Tombstone, the history of The Undertaker. Another 3-disc set. First on here, WWE Championship match versus Hulk Hogan, Survivor Series of 91. His casket match with Yokozuna in 94. It doesn't look to appear to have his, which is weird. I found it weird. It doesn't have his debut at the Survivor Series where he was part of the, maybe it does. I don't know. I haven't watched this one in so long. It's not even funny. But I still have it. Undertaker fan. Old Undertaker. Not what's going on now with him. Then I've got the companion. This one I bought firsthand. I didn't buy this one. That's why I didn't know about the 90s one. But the greatest wrestling stars of the 80s. Where I really, the Attitude Era was great. But I really loved the 80s is where it took off for me. This is where my love, like I said, I watched it in the 70s when the adults would watch it, and I would watch it on TBS at night at 6:05 on Saturday. But it wasn't until the 80s came that my love really took off. But I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, I watched it. I did watch it in the 70s, but it wasn't like I was, it was in the 80s, once I turned, 8, 9 years old. It's like, yeah. But anyway, this one covers Bobby the Brain Heenan, Junkyard Dog, Sergeant Slaughter, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Roddy Piper, Jerry the King Lawler, Arn Anderson, Dusty Rhodes, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Ric Flair, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, Cowboy Bob Orton, Iron Sheik, Paul Orndorff, and Hulk Hogan. And it's got 16 classic matches. Great DVD. Like I said, I don't even know if anybody can watch this. I don't even know if this is on the WWE's Vault channel, if it's on Netflix. I don't know if you can watch it anywhere, but it's a good DVD. Then here's the other one that I was getting confused with. This is the Ultimate Ric Flair Collection. I always look to see if it says PlayStation 2 compatible. This one, I do believe, is the one that's just, this one is just all. Like Disc 1, Harley Race and the NWA Championship, Starrcade 83, bonus features. So there's a little bit of story, and then there's matches. This is another good DVD. Like I said, I'm a fan of Ric Flair when he was wrestling. I'm not a fan of Ric Flair now because he just wants to badmouth everybody and be drunk all the time. And I know he lost his son, and he's probably not the happiest guy on, he's probably a miserable guy, but don't have to be a jerk. Good DVD. We're almost done. Bear with me. I know it's been a long time. Look at my count. It's almost 40 minutes. The history of the WWE Championship, 1963 to 2006. Ooh, hear that plastic creak. This still got the back card with the UPC. But this, it's got the thing inside shows a timeline. Like Buddy Rogers, 4/29/63 to 5/17/63. Bruno Sammartino, 5/17/63 to 1/18/71, and then again from 12/10/73 to 4/30/77. Long time. But it's got everybody on here all the way up to RVD, 6/11/206 to 7/3/06. So it only goes to 06, but it's a good documentary. And it's got the WWF Championship match, Ivan Koloff versus Pedro Morales. Another WWF, Bruno Sammartino versus the Killer Kowalski, but it's got a lot of great matches on here. But they're all championship matches, with the last one being on here from 05, triple threat match between John Cena, Chris Jericho, and Christian. But it's got, a lot of hand-picked wrestling matches. So another good. If you love wrestling, history of the WWE Championship is awesome. And then this one, not my favorite. Triple H, King of Kings. It's another one that's just matches. Nice slipcover though. It's got him there, but I prefer this image of him with the skull mask, but it's not. It's on that. But King of Kings, getting started, then a bunch of matches. So this one is a documentary, kinda set to matches. Does a little talking, then it shows some matches, but it doesn't show any WCW stuff because it's got. Well, it says here Triple H first professional match commentary, Jim Ross, Triple H, Burlington, Vermont. Yeah, Terrorizing versus Flying Tony Roy. So it does have one match from 92. But the first match on the main portion is Hunter Hearst Helmsley versus John Crystal from Raw of 1995. It's not a bad DVD, but I thought it was going to be more documentary with, but it's more matches than documentary, but so it's not my favorite. And then I've got the Legacy of Stone Cold Steve Austin. This is the last one. So if you're still with me, you ain't got to sit through them anymore. Demand the Power, WWE 24/7. That was the first. That was the first. Then it has the pay-per-view events from 2008 on there. But this was the first WWE 24/7. I had that. You had to get it through your cable company, but I had that. And then chance to win the whole collection of 2008. Go to the survey. You could have won every single DVD from 2008. Obviously, I didn't win. And then it's got I love that artwork. Some great artwork. And it's got his disc 1 steel cage match for the WCW Tag Team Championship, Hollywood Blondes versus Dos Hombres, Slamboree. Then it talks about his relationship with Brian Pillman. Stunning Steve Austin versus Flying Brian Pillman, Clash of the Champions. The Not Exactly Stunning. So it's another one that's set up with documentary mixed in. A lot of the other ones that I have are mainly documentary, right? They're mainly, I hate putting these back in there. They're mainly documentaries and then bonus features of matches. And then they changed the format to like this, where it's a little documentary and then matches, little documentary. I preferred it the old way, but it is what it is. And anyway, that's my collection. That's my DVD collection of WWE. I know there's some of you guys out there who probably have huge collections, who are even bigger fans of wrestling than me with the figures and the belts. I wish I could have been that guy, but I'm not. My finances went to other loves, like collecting figures, music, video games, NASCAR. Well, you can't see my NASCAR, but I got some NASCAR stuff back here and upstairs. So I kind of didn't buy. I bought, like I said, I have every single wrestling video game ever. Every single wrestling video game ever. NES, 64, Super Nintendo. I got all the wrestling games, but I didn't go so much as getting replica belts and getting wrestling figures. I don't know why. But that's my collection of wrestling. And the reason I showed it off wasn't because I wanted to brag. There's nothing to brag about. I don't have that big of a collection. Some of you guys have huge collections. That's something to brag about. I wanted to emphasize on these are some great documentaries with some great matches to relive the past. And it's really the only way I can. I can either, I can go search in YouTube and search in the WWE's Vault channel and go through and look for all the matches individually and hope they're on there. The documentaries, because some of these, like I do believe the Road Warrior one, I saw one time on a thumbnail notification, so I think it's on the Vault. But they're very slow putting stuff up on the Vault. But one thing that's not up on the Vault is just these documentaries and individual matches. I miss the network, where I could watch entire pay-per-views. Netflix has slowly been adding WWE pay-per-views, but there's no ECW last time I looked. There's no WCW the last time I looked. There's no, they had the rights to some of the other stuff like AWA and all that. I used to have that DVD. I don't know what happened to it. Maybe I forgot to grab it. I do have the AWA, the Vern Gagne AWA DVD. I must have not noticed it, but I do have it. I'm not going to run and waste your time and get it, but I do have it. I don't have a reason to lie. But I don't understand why they don't put everything on Netflix like it was on Peacock. It's just bothering some. Now I know they kind of wanted to be greedy about it and make money, and they wanted to probably license it out to somebody for streaming, but no one's picked it up. So they're slowly putting stuff on YouTube, but I don't know. I miss the library, and I have the smallest library. I envy the guys who have DVD after DVD. I envy the guys who own all the SummerSlams and own all the Royal Rumbles and all the WrestleManias. I envy those guys because anytime they want to relive great classic wrestling, they throw it in the DVD. And I've got to hope and pray that it pops up one day on Netflix or on YouTube. So kudos to all you guys out there who have a bigger collection than mine. Mine is what it is. Select wrestlers, select matches. That's all I got. That's all I can do. So let's not let physical media die. Now, I know WWE is probably never going to start reproducing Blu-rays and releasing stuff on DVD again. But if people would start asking, start showing your love for physical media, maybe they would. I don't know. But I wish physical media would make a resurgence. Because as much as I love the convenience of streaming, I love the convenience of being able to grab your phone and watch whatever you want. That's great. But there's nothing, I can grab this anytime I want and watch it. I don't have to worry because it ain't streaming anywhere. Classic stuff like sci-fis and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like the same with video games. Like here's one I had just laying around. SmackDown vs. Raw 08. I can play it anytime I want. And it's like, streaming is great. It's convenient. But physical media to me is way better. But I'm not going to sit here and say, I'm not a hypocrite. I am a hypocrite. No, I'm not a hypocrite. Where am I going with this? I do use streaming. We have all the streaming services because I have a full house full. I got both my daughters here. I got my grandkids here. So I have all the streaming services because everybody likes something different, and having little kids and grandkids, you got Disney Plus. So I've got all the streaming services because, like I said, it's convenient. But I prefer to have physical media because I have a lot of movies in that back room over there. If I did a movie, I got thousands of movies in the other room. Can't do a video on my DVD collection. Maybe one day I'll scan the wall of my DVDs and then I'll put them up just in one of my videos. But this is just a small collection, so I was able to do it. But using this small collection just proves my point that I'm rambling about like an old fart. Keep your physical media because you never know when it's just not going to be available. And with all the licensing bullshit and this, that, and the other, your best bet is to own it. If you really love something, own it. There's movies that'll come out and I'll be like, I'll wait for streaming. But like when Masters of the Universe comes out, I'm buying it. When Grogu Mandalorian, I'll probably pick that one up. I picked up Obi-Wan. Not the best TV series, but I picked it up on 4K anyway because it was nostalgic. It brought the little kid the little kid inside of me came out for that because of the nostalgia factor. So I bought it. I didn't buy any of the other Star Wars TV shows. I don't own Book of Fett or anything like that. But I like buy Masters of the Universe. Hell, I'm getting ready to buy Masters of the Universe from a Toy Robot on DVD, the original with Dolph. Even though it's bad, I still want it. It's got a different cut of the movie. So I still buy physical media on stuff that really means something to me. You don't got to go out and buy everything. But if it's something you truly love, buy it on physical. Please do yourself a favor because one day you might not be able to find it. You'll always be able to find a Blu-ray player somehow, some way. I mean, the industry is trying to force you into digital, I mean, Sony and Microsoft, they're chopping at the bit to have a system that's cloud-based and don't have a DVD player in it anymore, and everything's on the cloud, and you'll never own. Yeah, but that's a video for a different time. So please support physical media, and I hope you liked my collection. If you can find any of these on eBay, if you saw anything in my collection, like, dude, I wish I had that one, hit up eBay, see, maybe you'll find it. I don't know. I think you'd be dumb if you had these and tried to sell them. But, you know, people pass away. Wives are like, I don't want this shit, and they sell it. So you might get lucky and find something, you know, something I have might show up on eBay. Who knows? Worth a try. Worth a try. Well, it's been almost an hour. You probably, no one's still watching. Probably most people skim through. But I wanted to get it out there. If you watch it, you watch it. If you don't, who cares? Anyway, I'm Grandpa the Nerd. Thanks for tuning in. And hopefully I will make a shorter one next time. So until next time, I'm Grandpa the Nerd. Love you guys. See ya.